The way you operate and maneuver with relationships and the natural, he said, is one way. He said, but in the spirit, this is what you look like. He says, Franklin, you're the blacksmith, and this is what you do. He goes, you walk outside and you see a pile of apples. And you say, I'm hungry. And this is the way he said it. And he says, you grab an apple. He goes, you take it back inside. He says, you pull a sword, which is dull, and you go, smash, and put the sword back. He said, you cut the sword, but you smash it at the same time. You pick up the apple, and he goes, in chunks in each hand, and you have pieces falling off. And then he says, you sit there and you eat it, you eat it, you eat it. He says, whatever's left, you throw it to the left. He says, then you'll stand there and say, I want more. And then you'll walk outside, grab another apple, but you won't go back inside. He says, you'll stand there and eat it. And you'll take 3 or 4 bites and look at it and throw it down the street. He said, but you never look inside any apple. You don't inspect it. You look at it, it looks beautiful. That's all you know. That's all you go off of. It's a beautiful apple. Each apple's beautiful on the outside. And when he's showing me this, he's telling me this is how you are. This is how you're acting. And I'm like, wait a minute now. Let's open the apple. And he says, now, Franklin, tell me what you see. And I said in my head, I was like, I see worms. One in this one and one in this one. He said, okay, now place it to the side. It's very important. Each sword, he's saying sharpen in its own particular type of way. He says, now open it up and tell me what you see. And when I opened this apple, I saw seeds. And he says, Franklin, you see seeds? I said, yes. No worms, right? No. He goes, those seeds represent my spiritual growth. Those seeds represent growth. He says, tell me what else do you see? I see the flesh, which is the fruit. He says, Franklin, that represents my nourishment that I give the body. He goes, the reason why you said that skin was so beautiful, he said, because this apple is what I created for you. Smith walk and sit down at the table, and he says, now take a bite of that apple. And I bit into that apple. And I can see this blacksmith sitting there, closing his eyes and chewing so slow. It was like he was savoring every single time he bit into a piece of apple and going like this. This is the best apple I have ever tasted. I wanted to eat that apple forever. He did. He said, Franklin, that apple represents the woman I have for you. When you have this particular type of woman, you're going to put in the work. He says, you're going to sharpen your blades. Those blades represent you. Things in your life that you need to sharpen. Things that you need to work on. Things that you need to change. He says, when you're obedient and you hear me say, cut this apple this particular type of way and look in it and inspect it. When you follow me, and he said, when you're obedient to me, and then you look around, he says, you can see the beauty of the apple. You can appreciate the beauty of this apple. You appreciate it. And he says, you'll sit down and savor it for life. He said, now put the apple down. Now remember he said that, put the apple down. And the man didn't want to let the apple go. And I remember the Lord saying, it's okay, you'll come back to the apple.